Hi everyone, I'm Jo Fry and this is my channel Jojo Fry Rocks, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit of my Tim Pierce Masterclass, and I thought that I would go through some of the things that I've been learning and show you a little bit of how it works and the stuff that he's teaching. There's been a lot of videos recently about guitar teachers, online guitar teachers on YouTube and stuff. I've tried some of them. I've done, a free month here and there. But to be honest, this is the one that I feel kind of most comfortable with. And I feel like it's the one that's easiest to follow. It's broken down into, really small bits that you can practice as and when. And I feel like it's really helped my playing a lot so far. I'm not even halfway through it, so I've still got quite a long way to go. The good thing is it's at all different levels. So from very, very beginner to that sort of beginner intermediate, but sort of lifelong beginner intermediate. So there's an assumption that you know the basics, so you're not starting from zero. And I think that's about the right level for me. And then there's a lot more in the kind of more advanced classes, but I'm nowhere near that yet. So the good thing is, once I feel like I can move on from the kind of intermediate lessons, then there's much more that I can do as well. So just to start off with, I thought I'd go through some of the techniques that I've been looking at in terms of learning how to play more sort of blues style guitar. And there's a really nice few lessons on this that Tim starts off with, and there are 6 blues licks in A minor pentatonic that he goes through and shows us. So I'm going to go through each one and just kind of see how I get on. So the good thing is that these are really sort of short lessons as well. So like you could do all of this easily within a lunch break, which is the exact sort of thing that works really very well for me. Okay, here we go.
So your ring finger starts this riff. It's on fret 7. You can see my hand is kind of comfortably planted, and the basic position is with the index finger here at 5. We're in A minor pentatonic, but the thing to remember is to just press down lightly on the D string, string 4, fret 7. So what you're doing here, and anytime you pull, try and use a finger or two behind your initial finger to give it strength. And so in this case, I'm using the second finger to give the third finger strength. See that? I'm not going. Situation sounds good. Now, not in all situations. The alternate is. Now, because I'm doing this very slowly, I'm not really paying attention to whether I'm picking up or down or alternate picking. So you can try it both ways. If you like the sound of all downstrokes, it's even legit as you speed up because there's a certain tone to it. You see how I picked that fall one time and then I just let it fall the second time. I'll demonstrate that. That's picked. Here's just letting it fall. And that's all downstrokes. That is a sound. But of course, you want to be able to do alternate picking, which is. So really, you should practice this with as much alternate picking as is appropriate. That's basic alternate picking. Downstrokes if it's adjacent string to string, and this is the case here. It would be the same here. Sometimes it's like two notes. Now, when I speed up, I want to do it a different way, and I want to do up, down, up. So let's do alternate picking.
And there we go. So that was the first lick. He goes through kind of 6 of these in sequence, and that's kind of the way, that's the level at which he breaks it down. As you can see, it's really quite detailed in terms of very much the techniques, down to the kind of picking, whether you use downstrokes, whether you use alternate picking, the sort of choices in terms of when you're doing a bend, whether to kind of do it to pitch or whether to sort of get it slightly flat for a more bluesy effect. And also, the kind of the speed at which you do it and the tone, that you end up with by doing that. So even though that seemed like a really simple lick, which it is on the face of it, I think there's a lot to unpick and understand about it. And that's another thing that I really like about the way he breaks it down and explains things. It's really clear, and I think it's really easy to follow. So let's try the second one.
Now, the great thing about riff number 2 is it starts exactly the same as riff number 1. The first 4 notes and the first 4 moves are the same. Into the other but doesn't sustain through the other. Both sound. Time sounds, but they're totally connected. One at a time. So what happens is you pull up. sound. For you?
This is another thing that comes up time and time again in Tim's lessons, is about muting. And this is one of the really, I think, kind of key differences between sounding like a real beginner guitarist and actually sounding a bit more like you know what you're doing. Muting strings that you don't want to ring out, muting the notes and things that you don't want to hear, is a real skill, and it's something that I'm still not very good at. I'm still learning to do. But the great thing about Tim is that he's always sort of just naturally dropping in hints and tips, even when that's not the focus of the lesson. But he's dropping in techniques and ways in which you can do it. So as he just said there, on this lick, he's using the tip of his first finger to kind of mute the string as it comes back down from the bend, and then play the next note. So he's kind of suggesting that this is what you do. And as you've got the string held up there, you put your first finger down on the top two strings, so that when that string falls back down from the bend, sound, because I stopped it with the tip of my first finger there. And it's that kind of thing that really differentiates your playing. So, really makes you sound a lot better if you can remember these things and remember to do them kind of consistently. So let's have a look at the third lick.
Now we move to lick number 3, and it's a whole new world.
Ooh.
Wow. The little finger, for me, is my weakest finger. So I use these 2 fingers when I pull with it so that I get 3 fingers to get strength behind this pull. And I'm up here now at fret 8. So the hand is still planted in A minor pentatonic with the index finger laying over the 5th fret, basically. But you're going to pull up now at 8 to match the pitch at 10, the A note.
Right, so now he's suggesting doing this next bend with your little finger. This isn't really something that I would normally do. I would probably try to cheat. I would, more often than not, I would try to use my third finger, because I don't have a lot of strength in my little finger. So I can already see that this is going to be challenging. This is going to be a bit difficult for me. But he's suggesting, as you would normally, support that finger with the other fingers behind it. I'm going to give it a try. I'm a little bit dubious, but yeah, here we go. So. I'm not nailing this in any way, shape or form.
Here. So all 3 fingers are going to pull. And that gives that little finger the strength to do steady, a steady, reliable, static pull. And you want to be able to land it there and hold it, although we're not on this riff. But if you want to practice this, pull up with 3 fingers, hit the pitch, and hold it.
Okay, I'll try again. Right, it sounds a little bit like a strangled cat when I do it. I don't think I'm quite getting there.
So this is how it starts. And then I match it with this A note here. It's the same note. That's another good exercise. If you can pull and hold these two together, make the pitch exactly the same.
I don't know if I'm even going to attempt this. How bad is this actually going to sound? Doesn't sound right at all, does it?
It's also great for some solo. You heard it before, but this riff does go from the pulled A to the fretted A right there. And then we do this. Check it out. 8, 7, 5, 5, 7.
Not doing quite enough muting there. Sort of.
Alternate pick as best you can, or whatever's comfortable for you. I see myself doing all alternate picking on this riff, personally. Really slow.
And that's another kind of important thing as well, is stylistically, it's not just picking the notes. So he's actually kind of teaching you the style in which to play it, in which to make it sound like a blues lick. Because if you were to just kind of read the tab and just pick the notes, it wouldn't sound right. It wouldn't sound the same. And that's a really important tip about sustaining each note until you reach the next note. And then you have to kind of make sure that you're picking each note clearly, but at the same time it's sustaining until the next note, but not kind of interfering with it. So yeah, kind of like. So on to lick number 4.
Next, here's riff 4. Starting on the tonic, we've been here before, fret 7, it's the A note. And we're hammering on. And using the little finger. have 7, 5, 7, 8, and 5. Hit the notes. You want that hit to be just as loud as the pick note. It can be a challenge sometimes. They're like little hammers. You don't want them. It's quick, and then you have to stay down. They don't come back up right away, but it's a fast thing. It's the best way to do it. In other words, as much pressure as you can do lightly in this one stroke. It's kind of like, but with this hand.
Okay, not too bad.
And you see how I'm getting them almost as loud as the pick note? This is the pick note. The next two notes are almost as loud. Now, as I said, a little bit of gain in sound, it'll be a little bit of a struggle to make those loud enough, so a little bit of gain helps.
And again, there he is with his tips on how to make it sound good, which, you might not have thought about when you were sort of dialing in the tone on your amp. I do have a bit of gain on this, and these pickups are incredibly hot anyway, so I can't have too much gain because I'll lose the clarity of the sound, but I think it's sufficient for this. Alright, on to number 5.
So now, on to riff 5, and it's a cousin of what we just did. We're on the B string, and instead of hammering on and going up, we're pulling off and going down. So here's the previous riff. Here's the new one. So you take your little finger, you plant it at fret 8 on the B string, and you pull off. That's better. The way that gets silent is by the flesh from these fingers just laying against it. One of the things I can talk about all the time is any time you're playing the guitar, the electric guitar, and there's the flesh from fingers you're not using, they should be laying across strings, making them silent. That becomes second nature very easily. So as you can see, my hand is usually just resting lightly on all the strings that are not being used. Fingers right here are actually resting slightly against the E string above and muting it.
Having real difficulty with muting that top string, because I'm trying to put my kind of finger or rest my finger against it to stop it from making any noise. I'm also accidentally kind of fretting it, so it's kind of playing a note. I think I've just about got there. Okay, and then on to lick number 6.
Now, lick number 6 is the same thing as the previous lick, but on a different string with a different ending. So we pull off in exactly the same manner. We just move over to the G string, land on the tonic, and then roll. But this time, instead of the index finger that's rolling, it's the third finger. Indeed, it's a choice if you decide to sustain those notes and just bar. But for the sake of keeping the notes separate and clean and defined, we roll. Over like that. So pull off here at 8/7. See it, but it's the wrist that's creating it. Steady and slow.
Right, and now to bring it all together, he has a lesson where he brings all of those licks together. So that's the kind of conclusion of it. So this is what all 6 of them sound like together when Tim plays them. I'm not sure I could follow that timing, if I'm absolutely honest. But I will give it a go. Just playing them through, so. Sort of. I'm almost there. Almost there. Let's have one more go. It's getting there. It's sort of coming together. Last go. So that's my lesson in various blues techniques from Tim Pierce, and it's the sort of thing that I could do that like within my lunch break, and if I do this kind of thing, you know, 3 times a week, let's say, I feel like I've done a decent bit of guitar practice, and that is realistically all I can really fit in, to be honest, with all the other things that I'm doing, and also, you know, making videos for my channel and stuff. So this has been working out really, really well for me. And the other thing is that I'm really enjoying it. I feel it's improving my playing, and I'm always trying to remember those tips that he's always talking about as well, in terms of kind of playing with authority, you know, making sure that you're muting strings that you don't want to hear, and the differences it makes when you're picking a note, or whether you bend it or whether you pick it again, and then sort of whether you do alternate picking or downstrokes. So All of those things are things to take into consideration every time you play. And yeah, I really just can't recommend it highly enough, to be honest. It was a one-off payment, and you have access to the entirety of his course. And I think it was really, really worthwhile. So let me know what's worked for you. And if you've signed up for this, what do you think of it? And do you have any other kind of favourite online courses? All right, thanks everyone. Nailed it.